Alright, with the recent popularity of Blade and your recent disappointment with Steel,
I really thought Shaquille O'Neal was going to be the next Mark Wahlberg.
it just makes sense to discuss who will get what going forward.
Yeah, that dark stuff with Blade worked pretty well. We're gonna try some of that.
Nope. Our next 7 movies are gonna be cashing in on the dark stuff. Destined to all be hits.
But all we got is lighthearted crap coming up.
Well, that's why you have the Caped Crusader.
After Batman and Robin?
Nobody's gonna want to see another Batman movie in years.
Hey, we're switching it up too. We've got a colorful and corny Spider-Man movie coming out from the director of Evil Dead.
Yeah, it's probably not gonna break any records, but it should be a huge hit with the kids.
Fine, I guess we'll do another Batman movie, even though there's no money in it.
Christ, years from now, everyone's gonna associate Marvel with dark and gritty and DC with bright and playful.
Right?
Well then, there should be no problem signing this television contract.
Wait, this is affecting our shows too?
Oh yes.
You see, all of your TV series will be upbeat and positive, while all of ours are going to be depressing and harsh. It'll make you want to kill yourself.
But what if we end up completely misunderstanding our audiences and we end up doing the exact opposite?
It's okay. Our animation departments will fill in the blanks. We'll keep ours goofy and harmless while you keep yours complex and intriguing, with some exceptions.
But what if somehow DC's material for children ends up doing more adult work than our material for adults?
Yeah, and they're gonna do a cartoon version of The Killing Joke with a hard R rating.
That was bizarrely specific.
Yeah. So, anything else?
One more thing. Are you sure you don't want any of your shows to be tied to this new Netflix format that's getting a lot of buzz?
Yeah, like anything's gonna kill cable. No, you guys can handle that.
Besides, we don't want to be known as those guys that always copy Marvel.
That is a very valid point. So, anything else?
Yeah, what are our plans in terms of comics?
Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Done.
Hello, I'm a nostalgia critic. I remember it so you don't have to. Comic book movies have had a lot of ups and downs over the years. Sometimes they were on top of the world, and sometimes they were Daredevil. But when comic book films were seen at their most unpopular, one little kick-ass movie came along and said, hey, not only am I gonna be awesome, but people are gonna completely overlook me when they say Deadpool was the first R-rated comic book flick. How do you sleep at night, Internet? How do you sleep at night? I'm of course talking about the late 90s hit, Blade. People talk about influence in recent comic book films, they usually go to The Dark Knight or Avengers. But many forget this did play a big part in not only getting popularity back to the genre, but also creating a ton of tropes still used in comic book movies today. Written by David S. Goyer and directed by Stephen Dorrington, two people you thought were gonna be comic book gods, managed to turn out a movie pretty cool and badass, while also being about as 90s as a commercial where kids rule. Does the classic coolness overrule the dated silliness? Well, let's see if this vampire spectacle sucks in a good way or a bad way. This is Blade. We open up with Blade's birth, seeing his mother slowly bleed to death. Always a pleasant start. The credits roll as you can tell already this movie is a bad case of the 90s simply by its sped up footage. It was a simpler time when we were so blown away by the fast forward button. We see a woman driving her date to apparently a hot nightclub.
So where are we going?
It's a surprise, baby.
Yeah, I like surprises. Yeah.
I'm just here to die or be saved. Character tool all the way! They enter a club playing music that sounds like your Atari is trying to throw a rave. When we come across an effect even better than speeding up the footage. Speeding up the footage with a white flash. Whoa! Our 90s minds can't handle this! You're blowing us away with what we hit our computers for doing today! But our midnight snack is about to get a surprise when he finds he stumbled into a literal bloodbath. I guess this is supposed to be scary, but nowadays you probably just see this at any goth club. Dude, the blood is supposed to rain at 4. Right now you're supposed to be dangling the rubber gimps. He finds all of them have vampire fangs. Again, a usual non-scary occurrence at the goth club, when he comes across his knight in shining leather, Blade, played by Wesley Snipes.
It's Blade. It's the Daywalker.
The vampires try their hardest to wave their fingers at him, but it doesn't work, as he partakes in some pretty kick-ass fight scenes here. Damn, I'm possessed. What if I can play the accordion too? Oh yeah, God. That usually wins over swinging hooks. Even though the rotting remains are about as real as the rotting remains from a pumpkin bomb, these fight sequences are filled with the most awesome of implausibility.
That's very unlikely.
There, I give you footage for like 50 trailers. You know, for a character this badass, that was a pretty dorky move. You now join the ranks that Kevin McAllister, Data, and that weird baby meme have made timelessly awkward. I'm just gonna assume you haven't seen the past 20 years of white media.
I'm getting a little tired of chopping you up. Thought I might try fire.
He sets him on fire while also saving the story pawn as our extra crispy vampire is sent to the hospital. Here, Dr. Karen Jensen, played by Nebusha Wright, is looking him over with another doctor she used to date.
You ever have second thoughts about us?
Sometimes. But then I remember how much of an asshole you were.
No, I'm trying. Really, I am.
It's over.
Well, that character backstory seemed really necessary. I still think we can work. No, really, there must be a reason for that romantic interest. It seemed completely pointless.
Came back to finish you off.
Yeah, this brings up a continuing question about the film. Blade several times is given opportunities to kill off this character, Quinn. But he doesn't, resulting in tons of people either getting killed or maimed. Like, over and over and over. Why does he have such a hard time killing this guy off? Dear Diary, I almost killed Quinn off this time, but when I looked into his dreamy eyes, I knew. I was a Quinn girl forever. Blade is about to let the doctor die when his damn Oedipus complex kicks in, reminding him of his dying mother, and he takes her to his hideout. There we come across world-renowned Planet of the Apes star Chris Christopherson, playing Whistler, who tries to heal her bite marks with garlic.
Hold her.
Thanks, that'll help a lot. I'll call you when an earthworm needs restraining. We're introduced to our shadowy room of evil business suits because Marvel will always love this cliche. And they bring in their evilest vampire who can never get a shirt that fits, Deacon Frost, played by Stephen Dorff. This guy's a lot of fun. Just imagine all of Edward Norton's yeah faces had a son. And he only listened to Prodigy.
Maybe it's time we forgot about discretion. We should be ruling the humans. Or maybe I'm just the first to say out loud what we've all been thinking.
I propose a movement where we dress like we don't care how we look when really it's the most important thing to us. I call it the hipster effect.
Do we have any other business to discuss?
Sano, you may wake up one day and find yourself extinct.
Really? We're just gonna let him get away with that? You know, for a guy who does things we don't like, we sure do let him do things that we don't like. The good doctor wakes up and seems to be doing better as she sees what Blade has to go through in order to survive. Oh, he just read the script to Blade Trinity. I'd be holding his hand too. Whistler tells Karen exactly what they're fighting against.
You gotta understand, they're everywhere. Vampires. The Hominis Nocturna.
That means vampires. But seems Frost is doing research into the vampire archives, pissing off the council even more.
We're in a library. You don't need to shout.
What are you up to, Frost?
Tell me or next time I'll actually hit you!
What are you gonna do?
I don't need this. I'm only here because Chris Pine hasn't been invented yet.
You bore me.
Well, you wouldn't be the first. So after trying to figure out if a friggin' newspaper building blew up in town, seriously, Karen is told not to trust anybody when she's suddenly approached by a cop in her apartment.
Police officer, I didn't mean to scare you. The front door was open.
What are you doing in here?
I'm just here on a routine check.
I heard you were black, so you're under arrest for something.
You're dead too, bitch. What is this, garlic? Who'd said I was a vampire?
Nobody.
Christ, I think Blade's whole goal in this movie is to leave at bad times and then come back just before things get worse. Okay, I'm leaving. I'm really leaving this time.
I hope on Clinic.
So where were you taking it?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Does nobody care that a guy with a sword is slamming a cop's head into a car? I mean, never forget NWA, but I think someone would at least raise an He escapes though, causing Blade and Karen to follow him through Fast Forward Lane.
Get me Pearl!
Pearl is feeding.
I got a delivery from Frost here, and I just had a run-in with Blade. I gotta clear out that clinic on Hilbert now!
Okay, if you want to do pointless speedy footage, that's fine, but at least have them talk the way they're supposed to talk.
Calling all cars, calling all cars. I just had a run-in with Blade. Send in all cars, horses, planes that loop the loop. Me, I want
Vampire Anatomy 101. Crosses and running water don't do dick, so forget what you've seen in the movies. You use a stake, silver, or sunlight.
Yeah, forget all that stuff you've seen in the movies. Concentrate on this stuff, like in the movies. So while the vampires sit around partying, watching Mortal Kombat. Yeah, you vampires are gonna find a lot of blood in that movie. The cop tells Frost of his run-in with Blade.
Don't worry about it, though. It's no problem. We can still get the girl.
Am I fired or is this a promotion? As a guy who wants to be a vampire, I genuinely don't know. In case you forgot, that bat means that they're vampires. Symbolism. Blade and Karen come across the person who keeps track of all the archives and okay. Even for a movie about a guy who chases vampires, that's pretty silly. Bring me Solo Unto Wookie. Good thing he's not a woman, or else that would suddenly be indecent. They get captured by Quinn and his gang, but it looks like Blade has backup.
Catch you fuckers at a bad time?
As long as you don't have a copy of A Star Is Born, then no. They escape into a subway that just happens to be connected to the vampire archives. Odd design work. As they wait for the longest train ever to pass and then end up literally catching a ride on it.
Oh my god!
Yeah, okay. So Whistler reveals why Blade seems to have all the vampire strengths and few of their weaknesses.
Blade's mother was attacked by a vampire while she was pregnant. She died, but he lived. He can withstand garlic, silver, even sunlight.
He also obtained an aversion to taxes as well. I like to point out I waited this long to make a tax joke. I think I did pretty well! Karen consoles Blade during his all-important wall watching, while Frost and his goons apparently kidnap the leader of the vampires to kill him. They should probably all fry up, but it's okay because the other vampires have sunblock and helmets. Was Marceline's sun hat not available? Karen uses her Dr. Know-how to figure out how to make vampires' heads explode. Science! When Whistler makes a discovery about her.
You don't look so good.
I mean, the studio won't let you look bad, so this is what we count as not good.
I guess we didn't catch it in time.
So it looks like she's still gonna turn into a vampire in a day or two, but that doesn't get in the way of a meeting between Blade and the now helmetless Frost. So wait a minute, if you have enough sunblock, the day doesn't bother you? Because if so, being a vampire is literally a day at the beach.
Easy. Wouldn't want our little friend here to wind up on the back of a milk carton now, would we?
But Blade sees saving people as more of a secondary thing, and tries to shoot Frost, causing him to toss the child. Dead. Oh, I mean, no scratch on her whatsoever. She must have been wearing a lot of sunblock too.
Go home.
Yeah, what the hell do you think this guy is talking about? I mean, I know we just saw a man fly into the street, save a kid, and we're all just gonna ignore it, but let me tell you about this cop who got his head smashed into a car that I ignored! The city. We're just kinda there.
It's hard being an artist when you have headaches always popping up. It affects your work, so no one takes you seriously.
That's just a sugar-coated topping that you can control. Try David S. Goyer. David S. Goyer seems effective at first, like the miracle you've always been looking for. But then on closer inspection, you realize it might not be as effective as you thought. Your denial will tell you it's doing a good job, but after a while, you can't ignore the pain it's causing. It's not as bad as it was before, but it's still really bad. People will like your work at first because they see you have Goyer attached to it. But then they'll wake up and realize that most of it was dumb luck, surviving on the talent of others.
Everybody says the techniques were great, but the product was overall shit.
You'll not only realize it did less than you thought, but it's actually slowing you down compared to other successful medicines.
At first I thought it worked great, but now I see it's just a bigger placebo than Dumbo's magic feather.
Experts agree. It's not the worst thing out there. It did some good things, I think, though maybe that was other people. And, come on, just come on. David S. Goyer. Sooner or later, you'll feel the pain. And don't forget to try Nighttime David S. Goyer. Oh yes, it will ruin the Sandman.
So Karen discovers a cure for turning into a vampire off-screen. Yeah, they're surprisingly kinda laid back about it. But Frost also discovers Blade's hideout off-screen. You know, it's good to show and don't tell, but when you don't do neither, you have neither. And tries to capture them. Stop aiming at the rails and maybe you'll hit something. Blade comes home to see what happened as he gives one hell of an emotional, breathtaking, Oscar-caliber reaction to his fatherly mentor being destroyed. If only more blood-curdling moments in cinema had reactions like that.
I am your father.
No! Oh. Woof. That sucks. Whistler still has a few breaths left in him as he tells Blade where they took Karen.
Frost is trying to trick her up.
Yeah, that'll help him big time. I can see why you brought a doctor into your home.
Give me your gun. Now walk away.
Well, I'm just gonna last long enough to be brought back in a sequel just to die again in another sequel. It's a well-planned out future that lies ahead for me. So Blade once again breaks into Frost headquarters. He turns some vampires' heads into Bob the Tomato. Or Bob the Ketchup. But inside this giant Macintosh cigarette case lies a big secret.
Eric?
Yep, Blade's mom is still alive, and it turns out she's a vampire now. And on the side of Frost. You think someone would have used that bombshell a little earlier. Man, this Blade guy is ruining my plans and destroying my operation!
Honey, what are you doing?
Oh, not now, mother of my enemy who he doesn't know is still alive and on my side. I have to figure out a way to get rid of Blade. Wait a minute. I love Oreos! But there's an even bigger twist to all this.
You spent your whole life looking for the vampire who bit your mother. Well, here I am.
Well, it's a small, convoluted world after all. Weird! After capturing him, Karen reveals a secret about the cure she's created.
If it works, you'll lose your strength and your ability to regenerate. You'll be completely human.
Huh. So the cure is totally friggin' useless. Don't get me wrong, I know she uses it on herself, but from a story perspective, what happens? She gets bitten, they say they didn't get to it in time, so she makes a cure. If you just cut out them not getting to it in time, which adds nothing to the plot at all, the cure is entirely not needed. But it's okay, because if you love pointless, drawn-out moments, you're gonna love what's coming up next! See, here's the setup. Frost needs to lay out 12 of the Vampire Council in this ancient temple with Blade's blood combining with them this one night because through comic book mumbo-jumbo, it'll make him a vampire god. Silly, but whatever. It sounds kind of fun. There's possibilities with it. The downside is, where it took me only a few seconds to say all that, it takes the movie 10 minutes to do it. Yeah, they just kind of sit around, talk, laugh, talk and laugh. Laugh and talk. All we want to see is the action, but it takes for friggin' ever with detours. But I know what you're thinking. Through all of this, whatever happened to Karen's doctor friend? The one who got bitten? What? You weren't wondering that? Well, we're gonna spend a lot of time on it anyway. Because hey, there's nothing better we could be doing, and we know it's eating you up inside with curiosity. He's a zombie now. Yeah, you do the math on that one. It's some sort of bullshit side effect that sometimes happens after being bitten. Sure, and vampires sparkle too. But who cares about that? Because who cares about all of this? It's literally just 10 minutes of slow, boring filler, and it feels like an eternity.
You're afraid we're gonna steal your soul? Your pure blood spirit? You should be. Read the prophecy. It's time you fucks contributed something to the cause.
Even if Frost is right, you really think he cares about you? You're gonna die.
Well, I guess he wasn't needed for the ceremony. What, they just bring him along because he looks like William Fichtner? Because to be fair, every movie needs more William Fichtner. After the ceremonial ripping open of the shirt. Very necessary. Karen escapes and tells Blade to suck her blood to get his strength back, all while the temple is turned into a human plasma ball. Of course! All vampire skeletons have tiny skeletons inside of them just trying to get out. With wings! How long do we have to wait again? Okay. Blade does Freud proud by penetrating his mother with a long, hard bone, resulting in him finally jumping in to get revenge.
I got 2 new hands, Blade. I don't know which one to use to kill you with.
Well, doesn't matter what I do now. I am never topping that throughout the rest of the film. From here, it's all the cool stuff you wanted to see. Amazingly flippable guards, ripping out a guy's throat just to throw it at another guy, being launched in the air via nut kick. Even the stuff that's kind of stupid is really awesome, like how Karen continues to hit everything except what she's supposed to hit. This weird scene where they keep kicking the air for some reason. Mass mist, 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 mass. Gotcha! Ow, that hurt! And the fact that even though there's weapons that can clearly kill vampires, nobody ever thinks of using them on Blade. What do you got there? A plank of wood? Oh, yeah, that'll take him down. Ooh, a shovel. That has to be his undoing. Blade destroyed by deadly shovel. You guys really thought you'd be gods? You're using wood. Unless it's the aliens from Signs, it's not gonna do much. But who cares? Because it's still kick-ass, gory amazingness, all building up to the final boss.
Hey, Blade! Let's do this.
But it looks like his blood is made from pizza cheese as well as some other cartoony extras.
My turn.
Finally, the time has come for me to stop doing those stupid e-vape commercials. But Blade finds the serum that makes vampires go boom and he unloads them on Frost, resulting in him saying his big finishing line.
Some motherfuckers are always trying to ice skate uphill.
That is a really weird note to go out on. To this day, I can't figure out if that was really clever or one of the dumbest lines ever said by a comic book character. What do you think the other variations were? Some mother truckers are always trying to put diesel in their SUVs. Some peanut M&Ms are always trying to melt in your hand but not in your mouth. Some sushi patrons are always trying to mix their soy sauce with wasabi. Some fast food lovers are always ordering Little Caesars without the crazy bread. Some vacationers are always trying to go to Disney World at peak times, when it's obvious that mid-November through mid-December is the best time to go. I mean, seriously, just bring a sweater and you'll be fine. And don't forget to take advantage of those hotel villages with free shuttle bus service. Full price for their monorail access resorts? I don't think so, mouse. He kicks the last needle into his head, finishing him off. Huh, so I guess he can't put himself together after that. Being a god just means being slightly less destructible than you already were. Good to know that the ancient gods of old can't compete with head-blowy-up science. So, we all know the drill. Blade and Karen kiss in a romantic embrace, even though they have very little in common.
I need to get back to the lab.
It's not over. There's still a war going on, and I have a job to do.
I don't think you know how this works. He's a dude, you're a chick, you have to end up together, even if you have no chemistry at all. It's like a law.
You want to help make me a better serum?
Wow, really? They don't get together? There is such a thing as a man and a woman working together in an action film and they don't have to hook up? Quickly, Tumblr, rewrite this ending so that not only do they get together, but they have 20 children, all with different sexual identities. If 20 sexual identities don't exist, make them up! You're good at that! We travel to Moscow for really no reason except to get this cool shot, and we end with him hunting vampire ass once more. Now that was Blade, an overlooked comic book staple and, to be honest, still pretty damn cool. Okay, the writing's not always good and there's a lot of 90s cheese, but there's just a style and a creativity to it that still makes it really enjoyable. It's not too mopey that it can't be fun, but it's not too silly that it can't be serious. It's visually awesome, its characters are entertaining, and the action is still impressive and gets you sucked in. It got people saying comic book movies could be cool at a time when they were being seen as box office Pearl Harbors. This is one of the films that helped get movies like Dark Knight and Iron Man into the spotlight again. So if you want something that rarely makes sense, but still a pretty rockin' good time, this is definitely one to take a look at. I'm the Nostalgia Critic, and some fruit by the foots are always a few inches short.
Some motherfuckers are always trying to ice skate uphill.